We got a lot of exciting wrestling news to discuss today. We have more clarification on what WWE may have in store for Becky Lynch, and the incident where one superstar was just escorted out of the ThunderDome. So let's kick things off with Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey. December will be Becky's delivery month, and she's been back in the headlines a lot in recent weeks. Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins just dropped a few teasers from a recent photo shoot that will be released soon, but we may have information on Becky's actual WWE return. It's currently being reported that WWE is expected to have Becky Lynch back sometime in early 2021, and she will be a part of WrestleMania 37. The WrestleMania match that seems to be the most likely right now is Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. This is great news because this is the matchup that everyone has been asking for. And it'll be quite easy for WWE because the story is basically already set in place. We've talked about this dream matchup before and how it makes the most sense for both Becky and Ronda. If this will be the first match back for Becky and Ronda, then think of how amazing that story would be. Remember back a few years ago, we were supposed to see Becky Lynch vs. Ronda Rousey at Survivor Series. That match was set in stone, but it was the broken nose punch from Nia Jax that took Becky Lynch out of the match with Ronda Rousey. Fast forward a few months later, and WWE was now advertising that Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey match for WrestleMania. That built up the hype again, and we were finally going to see that one-on-one match that we were robbed from seeing at Survivor Series. However, Charlotte Flair was inserted into the match, making it a triple threat match and once again stealing that one-on-one spotlight between Becky and Ronda. Ronda hasn't been seen in the WWE ever since then, and Becky never lost the Raw Women's title, so both women have great claims to the title and still have unfinished business with each other as well. I think Ronda Rousey could definitely demand a title match in order for her to make a return, especially if she's returning as a heel. Then it makes sense for her to throw a diva tantrum and announce that she'll only return for a WrestleMania title match. On the flip side, you have Becky Lynch, who was never pinned or submitted for the title that she had won from Ronda Rousey in the first place. So both women probably feel like they're owed a title match. Ronda Rousey thinks she deserves it because she never got her rematch after all these years. And Becky's thinking to herself, nobody ever defeated me for the title. I should still be champion. That will put Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey back on a collision course to face each other on the biggest show of the year, WrestleMania. In honesty, the perfect matchup for both Becky and Ronda. What better way to welcome them back to the WWE than putting them up against each other to finally put an end to their unfinished business from all those years ago? There's some concern with Ronda Rousey. She's been inactive for just about 2 years now, and her contract was set to expire in early 2021. But like Paul Heyman said from a few months ago, you just can't write Ronda Rousey off because her contract is set to expire soon. Heyman teased the idea that Ronda Rousey very well could have extended her contract, but we the public just aren't aware of that quite yet. That's a good point by Paul Heyman. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe Ronda signed an extension for a few more months or a few more years. We don't know until WWE comes out with that information. But similar to how WWE kept Ronda Rousey's initial signing under wraps, I think it's safe to say that they would keep her extension as a secret, as well, just to mislead us and make us think that she's really gone. So that most definitely could work. We've been hearing for months that WWE and Vince McMahon are looking at WrestleMania 37 to be the biggest show in a long time and truly be the relaunch of WWE. And it's looking good so far if this title match is true. We already know that WrestleMania 37 will have just around 15 to 20,000 fans. Edge's return, John Cena's return, Undertaker, all these exciting matchups, and now you add Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey to that card. It's looking pretty great so far. WrestleMania was already looking very promising, but if you add Becky and Ronda's returns to the show, then this could be very big. We know both women are in very uncertain spots right now. We don't know what's going on with Ronda Rousey's status at all, since everything is kept so quiet with her. But we have seen Ronda involved with multiple training sessions over the last few months. Obviously, she's not preparing to return to the UFC at this stage in her career, so that's why everyone thinks her WWE return is imminent. As far as Becky Lynch goes, she's still pregnant, so maybe everyone is jumping too far ahead there. But would she be ready to return by springtime? That's a good question to ask here. But hopefully there's still a chance for us to see Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey this upcoming year. When the Zelina Vega situation first came out, we discussed how this story was nowhere near over, and how we'll get more pieces to the story as time rolled on. Well, it seems like another part of the story has just been revealed. According to new reports, Zelina Vega wasn't at home at the time of her firing. She had just arrived at the ThunderDome and was getting ready for a usual edition of SmackDown. It was at the ThunderDome where she actually received the information that she was fired. The reports claim that Zelina Vega was stunned and asked to speak with Vince McMahon right away. Her request to speak with Vince McMahon was declined, and security escorted her out of the building. So after that report made it look like Vince McMahon refused to talk to Zelina Vega, another report came out and said that Zelina wasn't the only one. Apparently, it's really difficult to get time to talk to Vince McMahon nowadays. He's more busy than ever, and the reports claim that there's a long line of people that are still waiting to talk to him. So that's why Zelina's request was rejected and she was removed from the building. Zelina is continuing to stream on Twitch and telling her side of the story. She explained how this week has been horrendous and said it was the worst day of her life since 2001. Zelina lost her father back in that year, so that's what she was referring to. So you can see just how much the WWE meant to her. She compares the last day she got fired from WWE to the day that she lost a loved one in her family. That's how much WWE meant to her. The pain of no longer being a WWE superstar was right up there of that horrific day in 2001 for her. She also talked about how she expected social media to lash out on her, but she was completely surprised to see all the support from the fans and all the outlets online. It really caught her by surprise, and she appreciated all that support. We'll have to see if any more updates and parts of the story will continue to come out. We already heard Zelina's side, then we had WWE confirming that it was a breach of contract. Then we had the story about her being removed from the building. So we'll have to see if any more new information is going to be released on this story. But what are your thoughts on today's wrestling news? Leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.